years since Tata has launched their first premium hatchback, the Altroz. And while the Altroz is a very good hatchback in its class, it is one of the safest hatchbacks and has a lot of value for money as well. What it did miss out on was an automatic gearbox, and we were waiting for this car to be launched since a very long time. It is finally here and we get to drive it today and tell you how this new automatic Tata Altroz performs. और अगर आप ये वीडियो हिंदी में देखना चाहते हैं तो आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक मिल जाएगा हिंदी वीडियो के लिए। आप जाके सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं मोटरॉइड्स हिंदी चैनल को और इसी वीडियो को हिंदी में भी देख सकते हैं। Now in terms of the looks or the design, there are not a lot of changes. We're going to have a look at all the changes that are there. But I want to talk about the DCA gearbox that Tata has introduced with the Altroz. And though it is a dual clutch transmission, Tata calls it DCA or dual clutch automatic, and it has been developed in-house. So Tata has developed this gearbox ground up, and they have about 45 patents on the working and the mechanism of this gearbox. And Tata tells us that this gearbox is suited for Indian conditions. Now, normally, traditionally, the DCT gearbox is a dry clutch transmission, and that is why we see that a lot of cars with the DCT gearbox have this issue of the clutch heating up and then the gearbox failing. However, Tata's DCA has a wet clutch transmission, and what that does is it has an inbuilt cooling mechanism, it has an inbuilt self-healing mechanism, it has a shift by wire technology, and what it essentially does is it gives the Altroz DCA an edge over its competition, because this gearbox will not fail like the traditional DCT gearboxes. And Tata has actually tested this car in extreme conditions, in extreme heat, extreme cold, in desert conditions, and goes to show as how much work has been put into this gearbox. And while we were expecting an AMT gearbox like in the Tata Punch, Tata really has surprised us with this new gearbox. So let's take a look at the car, let's get driving, and let us tell you what this new car has in store for you. Now let's take a look at what's different on the exterior. Now in terms of design, there is nothing new. However, you get this new chrome strip that runs across the front of the car. It starts right here behind the headlamp and goes up to the other side, and it looks really nice. It gives a nice aesthetic appeal to the car. Also, you will see that it has the same hexagonal grille, the same projector LED headlamps with cornering lights and fog lamps right here. The bumper also has the dual tone treatment. It has a body color as well as black slats, which look really nice and gives the car a sporty look. Coming to the side, you get these good looking dual tone alloy wheels. These are 16-inch wheels, and it's a 185 by 60 section tire, so it fills up the wheel wells pretty well. There's nothing new in it. The regular car also gets the same tire. However, now you have this chrome strip running on the ORVM, and the ORVM is blacked out. Talking about being blacked out, other than the ORVM, the roof is also now blacked out on the DCA. Besides that, if you look at the side, there's not a lot of difference. It pretty much is like the old car. You also get this piano black finish on the side panels on both the doors, which extends right up to the C-pillar. Again, talking about the rear, you get the same LED tail lamps. You get the blacked out treatment for the tail lamps right here. On the spoiler front, this is not a spoiler per se, but this, as you can see, this is like a half cut spoiler. This is also finished in piano black. A high roof stop lamp, wiper, washer, and you get the Tata logo and the Altroz badging right here. And you also have the reversing camera right here. Other than that, the only difference is this DCA badge, which tells you that this is an automatic Altroz. The bumper also gets a dual tone treatment. you have this out piece right here, and it gives a pretty good look to the car. Talking about the key, this is a standard Tata key like you get in all Tata cars, and you have the lock unlock button and the button to turn on the lights, and obviously the button to open the boot. Now the driver side door has a request sensor, so you really don't need to take the key out of your pocket. You can just hit this request sensor and open the door. And typical Tata fashion, you get these wide 90-degree opening doors, so ingress and egress is very, very simple in this car. Now inside the cabin of the Altroz DCA, you will find a very familiar looking cabin. It is much like the regular manual Altroz, and you get this floating infotainment screen, AC vents. You also get this Altroz badging right here, and you get this nice silver finish, and you get this three-tone treatment. You have the black dash right here, which is nice and soft to touch, and then you have this glossy piece made out of silver gray, and again you have this piece right here which is finished in white, and this has a nice textured material to it. The glove box is a soft open glove box. It's a wide and big glove box. It's cool, it's illuminated, so yeah, it's one of the best glove boxes that you will get in this segment. And another major change is obviously this gear knob. You get a drive selector here, and you obviously have the parking, reverse, neutral and drive modes, and you also have the manual automatic mode where you can slot the gear into automatic and you get manual controls on your gears. Now another thing to notice is this button right here. The manual Altroz had a driving mode selector here, so you could put the car into eco mode and drive the car, but that has been removed. This car no longer gets driving modes, and it has been replaced by a door lock unlock button. Besides that, the seats are new. You get these nice leather seats with the tri-arrow design all across with a nice contrasting white stitching. The seats are finished in black. You get a triple tone treatment in this car, while the dark edition will have a all black cabin, which also looks really nice. There are not a lot of differences at the rear either. You get the standard AC vents and a 12-volt socket at the back, and the seats are also finished in black leather, and you also get a central armrest at the rear. So let's get driving. I'm really excited to tell you about the all new gearbox that Tata has equipped this car with. Let's get driving and see how the car feels. Now we're driving the Tata Altroz automatic. Now this is of course the DCA, which is a dual clutch automatic transmission, and it's based off on the same naturally aspirated 1.2 liter engine, the Revotron engine that Tata makes and is common in all Tata cars from the Tigor, the Tiago, the Altroz and the Punch. And this engine puts out 85 horses and 130 Newton meters of torque. Now while in the Tata Punch automatic, you did have a rubber band effect. Since it's an AMT, you did have that drag when the gears used to change. In this car, however, I'm happy to report that there is no pullback effect. You would not know that the gears are changing. The gear shifts are really, really smooth, and the gear shifts happen at around 2500 RPM if you're not pushing the car. On the flip side, however, when you are actually when you put your foot down on the accelerator, the gear will hold on to a 5500 RPM before it shifts, so that you get a move on. You can accelerate pretty fast while in the automatic mode. You can obviously get the manual controls as well. You can obviously get into the manual controls as well. You can just shift the gear selector into manual mode, and then using this shifter you can shift the gears very easily. Now while in manual mode, obviously it is a bit more easier to drive. The engine is much better. The gear shifts when you do them manually you can hold the revs for some time and then get a shift so that you have a faster acceleration. However, I did not find myself going into the manual mode pretty often. I myself, I like manual gearboxes, and I personally like a manual gearbox, and which is the reason why I'm not a big fan of the AMD gearbox, and which is why this gearbox actually makes sense for this car. And it makes city driving really easy. Highway driving also is very, very good because you're going to get a good performance. Now, on the performance per se, there is obviously the turbo lag. This is not a turbocharged engine. This is a naturally aspirated petrol engine, and obviously there is a turbo lag, which is the character of this engine, and we've seen the same in the manual Altroz as well. So there's not a lot of difference in the power delivery. However, the ease of driving is much better. You can simply put your foot down, the car will shift a gear down, accelerate, and then shift up again after 5,000 RPM. And that is a really good quality of this gearbox. And like I said, the shifts are very smooth, so you won't find yourself, going back and forth when the gear shifts. Besides that, the ride and handling, we did not have any complaints with the Altroz in terms of ride and handling. Is the same case with this car as well. The ride and handling is absolutely awesome. The car feels sturdy, it's stable, it can hold its line in higher speeds, and obviously the steering wheel, it also has a lot of feedback from the road, which is really nice. And you want that feel, you want that heaviness when you are going at a higher speed, so that your drive is actually confidence inspiring. So no complaints wherein the ride and handling is concerned of the Tata Altroz. It is the same. Tata has maintained that quality, and we are very happy that nothing has been changed on that front. And talking about fuel efficiency, well, since it's an automatic, yes, the fuel efficiency won't be as high as the manual, but however, a few hundred kilometers that we drove this car for, we are getting an average fuel economy of 13.7 kmpl, and this is in mixed driving conditions. Of course, in the city, in stop-go traffic conditions, you will get around 11 to 12 kmpl, and out on the highway you can get up to 16 kilometers to the liter, which is really good considering the size of this engine and the performance that it puts out. It's a decent fuel average, and if you're going on a longer journey, I'm sure you will get a little more fuel efficiency. You should be able to get 70 to 18 kilometers on the highway. On an average, if you mix it up, you should get somewhere between 13 to 14 kilometers to the liter very easily. The suspension of the Tata Altroz was also really good in the manual transmission car, and nothing is changed here as well. It is not very soft, it is not very stiff, it is a good balance of sorts, and you will enjoy driving this car in the city and on the highways as well. So no complaints there either. So prices for the Tata Altroz DCA start at 8.09 lakh ex-showroom for the base variant, and go up to 9.89 lakhs for the top of the line XZA Plus Dark Edition. So it is a pretty wide, it is a pretty big price band. However, it is much cheaper than its rival, the Hyundai i20, and it somewhat matches the Maruti Suzuki Baleno with the automatic transmission. The differences, however, like though the Hyundai i20 is expensive, it comes with a turbo petrol engine, and the Baleno comes with a normal AMT gearbox. So in terms of technology, obviously the Altroz has a better gear technology. However, it does not have the turbo engine like the i20. There has been news that the Altroz iTurbo will also get the DCA gearbox along with the Nexon petrol. Now this one is based off of the naturally aspirated 1.2 liter Revotron engine, which is pretty decent. and for the price range, it makes as a good value proposition. The car is available in 5 colors. The one that you see in the video is the Opera Blue. It's an all new color for the DCA. Besides that, you will also get the car in Downtown Red, Arcade Grey, Avenue White and Harbor Blue colors. So let us know, what do you think about this all new Tata Altroz DCA? Do you like the car? Are you happy with the fact that Tata went with a dual clutch transmission? We are pretty happy about it. We are happy that they did not fit the AMT gearbox into this, and obviously the DCT gearbox is a very much advanced gearbox and we really like it on this car. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this car? Subscribe to Motoroids if you haven't already, and press that bell icon so that you get notified whenever we upload our next video. This is Vipul signing off. I will see you in the next video. Until then, rev hard, rev free and drive safe.